I think of like all the records I master in a year, probably only 70% of them go out to the world. And that's sort of a good and a bad thing. I think like in terms of like creativity and making something of unique value, you need to take the process to the end. So I understand why people explore mixing and mastering every production and track they do. But in that said, sometimes people rely on mixing and mastering to make them fall in love with their own project. Okay? I think artists can resonate with this really well. You know when a track just is absolutely beautiful, and even if the mix or master isn't that great, you know it's a great song, and if it goes out, it's just going to do well. And all of those tracks always get released. I know that from experience. You know, you can feel it in the tone when you're dealing with a client, that they're just in love with the track and it's going to go out. But then there's times when you speak with somebody and you can hear, and artists, you know this, you've put together something, but you're trying to salvage the idea of a track rather than the idea of the track actually being good in and of itself. Like the track is just well arranged, well produced, well put together. But in reality, you know that this particular track might not be. So you're trying to hope that by spending money on mixing, spending money on mastering, it's going to fix it. And that will never be the case. And I'm not going to sit here and, what's a word? Denigrate, but like sort of put down that effort by saying you can't polish a turd, because I think that's wrong to say in this context. Like, can't polish a turd is like, especially when you're going down to the level of understanding why people make decisions, saying something like that doesn't help them. Whereas identifying the core symptom of why they're in the first place, trying to mix and master a record that might not be too great is, and I think as good as it is to take something full circle, it's also good to be able to let go. The only creative sort of experience I've ever had with that is when I made YouTube videos that I've chosen not to release or not even edit. I've shot them and I've gone, I like the idea of this, but then I go to edit and I'm like, the idea was good, but I'm not going to salvage this in edit. It's not going to be a video that I know will help people or connect with people the way I want it to. So I just drop it and leave it. I don't spend the time editing it. And as many songs as you can write or put together and whatnot, it doesn't mean just because you've went through that whole production stage, you have to go spend another $1,000 getting it mixed and mastered just for the sake of trying to salvage the idea rather than letting go. And that doesn't even mean you have to let go in perpetuity for all of time. You can just let go for now and go, hey, this idea I can't see go to fruition, and mixing and mastering may or may not help that, but that's a really big risk to take. I'm just going to shelve for now and see how I feel in a few weeks. Because I see it often where people who, I even see it on catalogs of work where they'll work on like 15 tracks, all right? And you know the tracks which are just fucking banging. And when they go out, they're going to sound insane. And you mix and master them, they go out into the world and everybody loves them. And then you know in those 15 tracks, there's usually like 3 or 4 which never get released. And you just have a gut feeling that people put it in there, they were hoping it was going to be saved and it just didn't. What can you do? I hope there's a bit more to take out from this. I hope, how do I put it? This isn't to say, yeah, I'm just sort of rambling now. I'm rambling. I don't want to ramble. I want to make sure you guys leave with something good. So, you know what? If you've stayed this long into the video, that's awesome. I respect you for that. If you haven't, well then I respect you even more for that, because you know what? You probably stayed for what you needed to and you're like, I heard enough of this. That's cool. I'm bouncing now because I've got more important things to do than listen to Nicholas ramble for however long. Respect. That's good. If you're still here watching me actually say this, dude, now it's time to make sure you're still subscribed. I'm going to be a bit of a shill there and go hit the subscribe button. And until next time, take care.